It says scheduled. That's it live, mate.
J-Mac, are we live?
We're live now.
Somebody have connection issues.
Is that what it is?
Ladies and gents, welcome to... Oh, sorry, were you going to say something, J-Mac?
No, nothing important anyway. It never is important, but it wasn't even funny or clever, so it doesn't matter.
Ah, well, do you know what? Funny and clever go together when we're talking about this movie. Ladies and gents, you are tuning in for the absolute review of Samurai Cop. Now, I want to paint a wee story here, right? Because this is my journey through Samurai Cop. Like The Room and like many other movies out there that are so bad that they're that great, I had never really heard Samurai Cop, right? I was sitting one night watching a movie and my phone went bing, and I looked and it was J-Mac saying, "Hey mate, you fancy covering Samurai Cop?" And I'm like, in my head, I'm like, "What's Samurai Cop?" But I thought, Samurai and Cop can't be that bad. Yes. So I was like, yes, let's do it. So I was like, right, next couple of days, I'm gonna have to watch this Samurai Cop. Now, in my head, I'm thinking, maybe this is like a Bruce Lee kind of movie, maybe something back then that has a bit of, oh wow. So cool. So
it really does though. Just for all the wrong reasons.
So I source Samurai Cop, I turn it on, and then I'm like, oh, this is what we're doing.
It's instant as well. It's like as soon as the music starts, you go, all right, here we go.
Like, Game Boy. David Fullerton says, here we go.
Here we go, Davy boy.
Tony Bernal says golden. That's one way to describe this movie. And Tony Bernal also says, I've got my Samaria t-shirt.
That'll be a samurai, I'm assuming.
Happens to the best of us. You're like, no.
Unless it is a Samaria t-shirt. Like, it's, I don't know. I don't know Tony well enough. I don't know him at all.
So, Samurai Cop. Best way I can kind of describe my experience of this was incredible, because I felt that I wanted to go back and watch it many times, and I have dabbled in it after watching it. It's one of those. What did they say, that this is right up there with The Room as some of the best, worst made movies ever?
Yeah, and it completely deserves that title as well. I mean, see, in fact, just to show you the kind of quality of film we're getting, that face. That's not been messed with in any way. That's on a poster that they released for this film. I don't know if he was raging or drunk or really hot when he did a scene, but that's what his face came out like. The rest of his body is a normal color, but his face just goes like beetroot red. And I mean, the film itself, it's barely a film. It's just a mishmash of scenes that get put together. The story is basically non-existent. It's basically just one scene to the next, to the next, to the next, with the occasional reference to something that happened earlier on. It's an absolute midden film, but it's such good fun, man. It really is.
It's when it starts off, and it starts off in like a Tony Montana styled, well, cheaper Tony Montana styled gang meeting, and when the boss is introduced, I can't describe this best, and we're going to take absolute pelter from YouTube here for using content that doesn't belong to us, but I don't care because it's well worth it, as J-Max says. So here is the introduction to the boss.
Here comes the boss.
That mullet! Look at that mullet!
That boss is an Eddie Guerrero cosplayer.
I'm so proud of myself for knowing who Eddie Guerrero is at this point.
Yes, man. Yeah. Look, if anybody looks less threatening than that boss, let's watch that one more time, okay?
Here comes the boss.
He looks like the guy that brings ice to the tables in a Japanese restaurant.
Totally does, right? Here comes the boss. I mean, who says that? Here comes the boss. The guy that wrote and directed this, Amir Shervan.
I think it's Shervan or Shervan, something like that.
Amir Shervan.
Almost like Emma Siobhan. Let's go with Emma Siobhan.
Emma Siobhan. This was his first movie, and I'm dying to see his others because he thought that dialogue and everything about that was good. Like, not that it's not, right? But
we just need to get into the film. We can't do this in generics. We just need to get into the film just to talk about the details that make this the magic show that it actually is, man. I mean, that opening scene, like introducing the boss, and he comes out and he looks like he'd lose a fight in Primary 4, right? And then, but one thing that I did notice about this is the Japanese katana gang, right? One thing I noticed about that gang is that there's like 3 Japanese folk in it. Everybody else is it's the most culturally inclusive Japanese gang I've ever seen. You've got white people, black people, you've got Iranian people. There's less Japanese people than anybody else. And it's hilarious, man. It's hilarious.
Mate, do you like the scene straight after, the here comes the boss, when they're trying to like give patter to the wee guy? It's like, so you're gonna take the deal, right? There's parts where the guy's saying something and it's been dubbed. It's been dubbed by the director.
It happens quite a few times throughout the film. I'll give you one sentence that you'll probably recognize this. Hey, wait a minute.
Hey, wait a minute. Hey, wait a minute.
Hey, wait a minute.
Every time
it's like four people. Hey, wait a minute. It's always the same voice.
Hey, wait a minute.
and the repetitive. That's one thing, is the repetitiveness of the film is hilarious. Like the bit that started with the car chase, and you've got Samurai Cop in the front driving. Now, for some reason, when he's trying to get around traffic, he moves his head. He's like, "Oh, damn." Oh, and then he's telling his partner constantly, shoot him, shoot him. It goes on for like 5 minutes, shoot him. And then he goes, I got him. He's like, you got him.
I have a clip here to play of that very time, and it's when he's talking about, the car scene. He's like, oh, it's warm and ready. He's while chasing these bad guys down in his wee car, he's also gain it patter to the lassie that's up in the helicopter, right? Who he later, what happens with them later?
They bone.
But there's a way, and look out for this, right? It's after he's talking to her, and he's like, well, I'm in there, right? He turns and gives a wink to like the audience. Like, watch this. Here it comes, right?
An eye on the van, Peggy. I'm well informed there's a large suitcase full of coke in the back. They're gonna make the swap somewhere in the marina. Just stick close to them.
Okay, Joe. Keep it up.
Oh, it's up and ready. You just keep it warm.
It's warm and ready.
What the fuck was that?
Wait a minute. Can I just say, keep it warm. It's always warm. Warmth is never the problem. It's suppleness and moisture that tends to be the issue.
Mate,
We keep it warm. Oh my God, man. And the the whole thing, that the whole bit of dialogue between the two, and it doesn't get any better. And he's just throughout the whole film, he's just trying to get his end into everything he possibly can.
Oh no, they come to him. They come to him, mate.
I mean, she's so forgiving of it as well, because
I know.
he's telling a story to all the guys in the station. He's like, "Yeah, I had this girl. She's so beautiful, and we were in bed together." And that girl's behind him. She's like, "Hey," and he's like, "It's okay. You know, you're my number one," and that's fine. She just accepts that. Like, that's not where that conversation would finish. She's absolutely fine with it.
Half a samurai cop, mate. Did you see as well? While she's in the helicopter and she's giving it all the partner, right, to him. Oh, it's warm and ready. And she looks to like her wee co-pilot, and she's like, and he's like, like, what? At what point? At what point would you be like, oh, look at you, young love.
Such a cute couple, you and the samurai. It's and it, quite quickly after that, there is a sex scene where they two. We call it a sex scene, right? Samurai cock.
That makes more sense.
We call it a sex scene. It's more a caressing and booby scene. Like they're kind of acting like they're having sex, with obviously without doing it as they do in all films. But it's just like you just see a hand come into frame and like rub a face, and you're like, oh yeah.
And there's a lot of nipples.
A lot of nipples, and to be fair, they're quite nice. The guy had good taste when he was picking the girls for this film.
That's the one thing. That's the one thing he gets.
Now, see, there are occasional moments in the film that are actually done right. Like a shot is actually composed right, and it seems to be lit okay, and the color seems to be balanced. But the fact that you get a good scene every now and again, it just illustrates how bad the bad ones are. Like if it was just bad from start to finish without any good scenes, you probably wouldn't notice it as much. But if you get a good one, it just goes, wow, that previous one was fucking crap. You know what I'm saying?
I did think whilst that, because I felt the love making scene, which by the way, we don't have any clips. We're in enough trouble as it is. But the love making scenes, I find they're very long for what they are. Like, okay, a kiss is a kiss, right? You're like, okay, we know where this is going. A kiss on screen should probably last 30 seconds, 40 seconds at the most, before either the camera pans away and it allows you to use your imagination, or before things start to get a bit more serious. This is just like, mwah, mwah, lots of nipples, mwah. And then it keeps going like that. And I'm like, me, just saying, if it was me that was in that movie, I'd have been like this to the director. I'm thinking maybe we got to play about with this one a wee bit. I mean, we want to make it more authentic. My artwork is authentic here.
So you want to say to him, it's like, Amir, have you ever actually made a film before? Are you good at making films? He's like, sometimes maybe good, sometimes maybe shit. But there's too many sex scenes in this, right? There's just far too many. Most of them involve Samurai Cop and some other women or women. There's one scene. There's a sex scene between two baddies, right? So you've got Robert Zadar, who's the guy with the massive chin for Tango and Cash. He's having sex with a really hot redhead. And
it's the boss lady.
The boss lady at the start.
Here comes the boss.
Right, very attractive. Again, well chosen. But the weird thing about that sex scene is that it still plays good guys having sex music over that scene.
They do it the exact same way. They do the exact same thing as what it's like. Does everybody bone the same way in this as everybody else? Like, I just watched a TV series called Heels the other day, right? And I'm not used to seeing a lot of sex scenes in TV series. And he's got her like proper doggy style scalping her arse and stuff, proper naked. And I'm like, all right, it mixes it up a wee bit. Like, nobody does the same thing. Nobody just gets on top of a naked lassie and kisses to some weird wacky music for like 3 minutes. You know,
it's weird. It's like fake saxophone music. It's like saxophone music, but it's done on like a 1983 Korg. In fact, not a Korg, Casio. It's done on an 83 Casio.
Korg.
But like, just talking about like the camera work for a second, right? There's such shaky camera work in this sometimes that I swear to God, if you look at the shakes, it's the cameraman's pulse. He doesn't have anything to hold the camera with. He's just holding the camera, and his pulse runs through it, so it makes the screen go.
God,
it's hilarious, man. And then you've got the issues with the colour that we spoke about. Now, I had to dig into this a wee bit, but apparently this is something I don't know because we're modern film fans and modern filmmakers. But when you're using film, you get outdoor stock and you get indoor stock when it comes to celluloid movie films, your 35mm. They just used whatever they could find. Like, there's indoor stuff you can tell's been shot with outdoor. It's like all kind of orange and dark. And then you've got outdoor scenes where it's just all blue and washed out. And it's just it's so overexposed as well. Like, as soon as a window comes into frame, it just whites out the entire screen. It's like you've gave a kid a camcorder, and it's just it's an absolute joke, but it adds to the charm. It adds to the charm.
The car chase kind of ends when that boy gets set on fire. Now, I know you've got a lot to say about that boy that comes out of the car screaming in flames.
Yeah, that's not the guy that was driving. the guy that was driving is clearly, it looks kind of Middle Eastern, probably Iranian. He's got a big moustache, and then he crashes the van. The van blows up, and then the guy that gets out the van on fire is just a white guy, covered in flame retardant gel. And the thing is, when they filmed that scene, there was absolutely no health and safety in place. Like, normally if you film a movie scene like that where somebody's on fire, you've got a fire crew there, you've got loads of kind of stunt experts and stuff like that. They showed up to set that day, and Amir, the director, was like, okay guys, he's going to come out there on fire and you're going to put him out. They're like, what? It's like, what way? He's like, oh, there's a rug and a wee fire extinguisher in the car. If you look at the fire extinguisher, it's like a can of juice. It's the tiniest wee thing. And they're like, right, okay. And you can tell the guy that's on fire is getting pissed off because he starts kind of getting up and looking about to make sure he's getting put out.
It does. It's so does.
He looks at the camera like, what's going on?
It's something about me.
Oh, man.
Imagine you rock up to your job, which has been a stuntman, and you're like, okay, so I'm going to be on fire, and 2 trained experts are going to come up and put me out. Yeah. And then you hear that 2 actors didn't even know that day that they were doing that until they showed up to this.
Apparently, the whole shoot was like that. The guy would phone them the night before and say, he's like, okay, guys, you have to go to here. We're going to film this scene. Like, day to day, there was no shooting schedule. There was nothing. It was just an absolute shit show of a production. But there's scenes as well where obviously it's really famous for, like, they know they had to do reshoots. And they had to use the main star, Matt Hannon, had cut his hair, so they had to use a wig, and it's such an obvious wig in certain scenes. It even falls off a couple of times, but we'll talk about that later. But there's parts where you can tell that the people that are supposed to be talking to each other just aren't in the same building.
Oh man!
Right? It turns out that for the reshoots, they just shot some of the kind of dialogue or monologue really in Amir's office. So you'll see scenes where it's in a restaurant. But then when it cuts to the samurai cop or Frank or whatever, it's in an office. And apparently they were just talking to a chair with a lamp sitting on it.
Improvising.
Aye. So there's also some great henchmen in this film. Like the haircuts on some of the heads. There's a guy with a proper blonde mullet. And there's another guy it's almost like he's got a receding hairline but a mullet at the same time. There's a guy that looks like John Carpenter. Now these guys are supposed to be in a Japanese gang. Like they just don't fit. They don't fit.
No.
Also, the guy that was set on fire, it was just his back that was on fire, right? But for some reason, when he ends up in the hospital,
he's all burnt.
He's all burnt. His face is all bandaged up, and it's got like strawberry jam coming through it, right? But then obviously the bad guys are like, oh no, he might talk. We need to pick him off. So tell us how they do that.
Well, what happens is, there's a bit just before that has, obviously we know that big samurai cop is a stud, and anybody wants him. So just before that scene, right, we'll go through this bit by bit here, right? Just before that scene, the nurse that is treating the now burnt all over guy comes out of the room after saying, yeah, his lips are burnt, he'll never talk. And as she leaves this room, here is the conversation that happens.
Thanks, nurse.
Do you like what you see?
I love what I see.
Would you like to touch what you see?
Yes, I would.
Would you like to go out with me?
Yes, I would.
Would you like to fuck me?
Bingo.
Well, then let's see what you've got.
Like that escalated, mate. How do you go from going, yeah, he's burnt and he'll never talk, to do you want to fuck me? What hospital did he go to?
He's definitely got a booper plan. You don't get that in a normal NHS hospital, man. That's definitely a ticky box for a booper service. That one.
Like, at what point did she in any way be like, ah, right? You know what? Right, now that I'm done saying this guy's burnt all over, this guy, the guy with the big woman hairdo, this is the guy. Do you want to fuck me?
The thing is, he's proper 80s, 90s hot. He is, man. He's a big stud. This guy was Sylvester Stallone's bodyguard for years. He's a
Was he
stud.
actually?
Yeah, aye. He's a stud of a guy. Still no evidence to support the fact that he knows anything about being a samurai, but he's a big stud.
He's well built. He's got a great body. But the big long hair.
Gay! Sorry, man. I couldn't help myself.
It's that gay. You can appreciate a guy.
I know. I'm just kidding. I just love that clip.
the speedos, man. But so that kind of happens, and as he's been rejected for the first and only time in the movie because he's not got a big enough piece where you want a jumbo jet.
That's actually. So, what kind of size you looking for? Something the size of a jumbo jet? And then she just kind of walks away, and the black guy comes out and goes, "Hey, I got one."
But get this right. So he then says to the officers that are guarding this
Witness
burnt cops,
this.
right? They're like, "Hey, no one goes in here at any cost," right? And then the nurse lady walks in with who is the nurse lady is.
Here comes the boss.
That's her.
I'll tell you what he says. He says, "Don't let anybody in there except doctors or nurses." That's what he says. Don't let anybody in except doctors or nurses. And then she shows up dressed as a nurse, right? And you go, right, well, fair enough. But the funny thing about it is, they still try and stop her going in.
Hey, what are you doing here?
Hey, wait a minute. And then,
hey, wait a minute.
She's like, I need to empty the bins. I don't think nurses do that.
No. Also, it's just like, oh, you need to empty the bins. Okay, fine. Because we all know those bins need empty.
Can we take a moment here for Steve the cop that's guarding the room? He's the worst actor. The worst actor. I think he's like, hey, everything seems okay. A nurse is in there giving him an injection, and he's got. I think he might be white, but he's got jerry curls. He's just such a weird looking guy. But anyway, so they let in the nurse, and not only that, what do you think might be in the laundry basket that she's got? Let's have a look.
Let's find it. No anesthetic whatsoever. Just let's leave him here in bandages to be in pain.
All right, man. He's enjoying the strawberries jam. Right. There's a walking chin, dressed as a doctor. Right. So, first of all, why the fuck's he dressed as a doctor? He's hiding in a laundry bin. I can understand if he dressed like a doctor to gain access to the room. That makes complete sense. But to be dressed as a doctor, then like hiding a bin, it's like, what are you doing?
Why could she not just go in there and inject him with something? Why does she need to take him?
Because we need to be reminded that this is a Japanese gang. That's why.
She needed the head to put on my piano.
Aye. Bring his head and put it on my piano. I will bring his head and put it on your piano.
Good job he was burnt all over his face so we can take a fake head. Oh, mate. Even the way he was like that, just slowly pretending to cut through the head, and then he gets handed a football.
I know. It's like he's trying to cut through a Tiger Loaf for Asda, right? There's not even any sound effects. Is there any music? I don't think there's any music in this scene either.
No.
Which is weird for a scene like that. You would expect, like, somebody's getting their head sawn off. There'd be some kind of music to try and kind of, pardon me, to initiate some kind of emotional response for you, but there's nothing. And then it's just like they pass off a football wrapped in bandages. It's something special. But dressing like a doctor and hiding in a bin is just, it seems like at least one part was unnecessary, regardless of what way you look at it.
Also, that guy's huge. Well, his chin takes up most of the bin as it is. So I thought there was other ways. And if you really wanted to build him up as a really big bad guy, just have him go in there with a sword and slice everybody.
Aye, I mean, it's the Japanese gangs. Nobody's really going to come after them except for Samurai Cap.
So this happens, and then hey, that guy didn't seem right. Then they start chasing them down. Jumps in the car, and he's like, "Catch you!" And then it moves on to the boss, their boss. So he's standing there. The samurai cop's getting all this with his big hair, and he's like, his other fella is getting the whole, I didn't get to arrest a single one of them. You come up here and kill everybody. So the stereotypical boss.
Yeah, the angry police captain. Oh no, sorry, you're still talking about the gangster.
No, the captain.
Sorry, right, okay, the angry captain. This it's like they've tried to rip off Lethal Weapon and just did it in a really really stupid way. I mean, in fact, that's it. There's nothing else to say on that. They tried to rip off Lethal Weapon and it just just failed miserably, but just became its own thing.
The boss guy at the end as well, like at the end of that scene, he's like, I feel like someone's put a baseball bat up my ass. Better find a way to get it out.
And I say, I feel like I got a big club up my ass.
That's that club.
And it hurts. Gotta find a way to get it out. The dialogue is just amazing. Absolutely amazing. And it's like, get out of here, you motherfucker. Have you got that clip actually where it lingers?
No, I don't think so.
Right. No, basically, he has a go at them. He then sits in his chair and shuts his eyes. And then Frank, the black guy, he walks over and kisses him on the head. And then they both just run out the room like a couple of wee girls. And he gets up. He's like, get out of here, you motherfuckers. And then he just kind of sits like this.
Yeah. And then he sits down and
for
laughs.
ages. Then sits down. And then laughs. And then goes to sleep. It's like they just didn't know when to say cut. They should have cut just after he point. Get out of here, you motherfuckers. And that should have been it. Even the actor didn't know when he was going to say cut. Like, truly, that's what happened. That's why it went on so long. Nobody yelled cut. And he's like, what am I meant to do? All right, I'll sit down. All right, I'll laugh. Oh, I'll just go to sleep.
And then it moves on to the restaurant scene where we first are introduced to his new missus. I can't remember, is it Jennifer? And what's the name of the boss guy? The Eddie Guerrero looking guy again?
Fujiyama.
He comes and he's like, who's Fujiyama? All the white guys are like, it's me.
Also, remember that Samurai Cop, Joe Marshall, Samurai Cop, speaks fluent Japanese.
I know.
And he walks in and he goes, hey, are you Fujiyama?
Something like that.
Can I just say, I don't want to rip the piss out the actor, Matt Hannon, at all, because he seems like one of the coolest guys ever. I've been watching a lot of kind of interviews with him and stuff to prepare for this, and he seems like the coolest guy. I don't want to rip the piss out his acting, but I think he was definitely a victim of circumstance when it comes to this film. He really was. But some of the dialogue he's been given to do, and it's brutal. The restaurant scene, that's where he gives his monologue, isn't it? Like his big speech about getting. It's like they want to deal drugs to our kids and send money to their Swiss bank accounts. He's raging for that entire thing. He's raging and inside he's truly raging because he knows how ridiculous the lines are, and the fact that he's in an office saying the lines to a lamp when he should have been saying it in the restaurant 7 months earlier, which is one of the obvious reshoots, nice. Which involves, we need to talk about that wig.
Let's do it. For anyone that doesn't know what wig we're talking about, pay close attention to this clip. When the samurai cop is thrown to the ground, and the bad guy, what's his name again, Okamura,
Okamura.
pulls him up. You see his wig fall off. Here it is. His wig fell off and they left it in.
See, he thought the film was finished shooting. He was told it was finished, and apparently what happened was obviously he cut his hair. He was trying to get more acting roles, and it's hard for kind of big guys that tall with hair like that to get roles. So he cut his hair. 7 months later, he gets the call from Amir to go to his office, and he thinks to himself, "All right, this must be the first cut of the film that he's given me to watch." And he shows up, and Amir's like, "What have you done to your fucking hair? We need to finish the film." He's like, "I thought it was finished." So they then have to go out and try and get a wig. There is a backstory to this wig. What some people might not know is that wig was actually a real person. So, Kev, if you want to run it's a wee biography that we found on the wig.
Aye, this will maybe give it a bit of continuity, because that's what they were in that movie. That's what they were really lacking with him cutting his hair, was continuity.
Yep.
Because continuity was perfect before he cut his hair.
Absolutely.
Here
Absolutely.
we go.
Johnny Wickman was born in 1965 in San Francisco, California. His father, James Wickman, was an engineer who worked on an abandoned redesign of the Golden Gate Bridge. Some believed his plan to build the bridge underwater was too radical, but anyone who knew Johnny said he was the spitting image of his mother, who was a stupid-looking brown wig named Gloria Follicle. He and his mother didn't get on very well, as it was said they were just too much alike. Johnny didn't do well academically, mainly down to the fact that he was made mostly of dead skin. As a result, Johnny was bullied mercilessly by his peers. They would call him names like Harry Houdini and Wiggy Wiggy No Brain. He would constantly be threatened by other children with hairspray, which would cause him to go completely stiff for hours on end. But it also made him extremely flammable. As a result, Johnny had a lifelong fear of open flames and hot sparks. He was also not in great physical condition, a lot of split ends, and very thin. At the age of 12, Johnny was taken to the movies by his father to see Rocky. He would often recount the story of how he got in for free, as his dad wore him atop his head and insisted that his son Johnny was actually just his hair. What a laugh. Rocky was a turning point in little Johnny's life, as one line in the movie inspired him to be a better version of himself. You don't have much of a brain, so you better start developing your body. With that in mind, Johnny began using Alpecin caffeine shampoo 3 times a day to make his strands stronger and more bouncy. His father, James, committed suicide in 1985. He never got over the underwater bridge abandonment and considered himself a failure. Little is known of what happened to his mother, Gloria. An urban myth says she occasionally climbs up the drain pipes into shower cubicles and leaves little pieces of herself stuck to the tiles. Johnny decided he was going to hitchhike his way to Hollywood with hopes of being in the movie business. Upon arriving in Hollywood, Johnny realized that getting into the movies was not as easy as he had hoped. He would occasionally get roles in shampoo commercials and sometimes would work for the Crime Investigation Network in reenactments of crimes committed by people with long, stupid brown hair. But the work soon dried up. He got what could be called his big break into film by playing Connie's pubes in the Peanut Butter Solution. His success, however, was short-lived, and that movie is complete crap. Following the box office failure of the film, he fell into a deep depression. He started taking drugs and dyeing himself stupid colors and spent some time in the punk scene, until he realized that he looked even more ridiculous that way than he used to. He would take small roles in low-budget porn movies, sometimes being a rug on the floor of a whorehouse, or to his more familiar role as a merkin. It was when watching one of these movies, a fetish film about queefing called Muff Guff, the director of Samurai Cop, Amir Shirvan, spotted Johnny. There were reshoots to be done, but the star of the movie, Matt Hannon, had cut his hair off thinking and hoping that filming was over. For continuity, Shirvan needed a wig for Matt to wear, but there was no budget left from the primary shoot. In walks Johnny Wickman, covered in dried-in semen and vaginal discharge from his last job. He said he would do the film for the mere price of a wash and a blow-dry. Having seen the final cut of the movie at a screening in the director's garage, Johnny, having suffered one box office failure already, couldn't stand the thought of another. As the rest of the cast and crew parties in Siobhan's living room, Johnny stole a cigarette and lighter from the coffee table. He went upstairs to the bathroom, covered himself in hairspray, and lit the first and last cigarette he would ever have. A memorial service was held at the Hollywood United Methodist Church, but sadly no one attended because he was just a fucking wig. Johnny Wickman, 1965 to 1991.
A nice wee J-Mac production right there. Class.
Hope you enjoyed it.
I absolutely did. I hope everybody at home enjoyed this also.
I have to say, my proudest moment was Muff Guff.
Muff Guff. And the fact that Amir saw him in Muff Guff. Because that's the shit he watches, clearly.
Absolutely.
Oh, man. Oh, man. That hurt my face a bit. Sometimes that can happen. Sometimes that can happen. The wig is magnificent. I think
It really is.
You can tell when he's wearing the wig.
I mean, you can get wigs of that quality for $9.99 on Amazon now. There was no money spent on that wig. It was clearly a woman's wig as well. This wasn't a guy with long hair wig. I mean, let's have another look at it if we can. Have you got something there that you can bring up?
From like for his wig or like from him?
Yeah, just for the wig.
I don't know. Let's see.
That's all right. We'll see. What happened to the sound there?
That's definitely the director, isn't it? I think you're muted, mate.
I muted myself.
Yeah.
No, that's that actor. I've seen him make those noises before. He's actually quite a good martial artist, that wee guy. He's been in loads of stuff. He was in Hot Shots Part 2. He was in
Part 2.
Part 2. And he was in Big Trouble in Little China as well. So he showed up in that. But I remember in Hot Shots Part 2, he gets kicked at both sides of the face and it buckles his face up. But that's him.
We actually, I just realized we missed the first car chase where you can see the absolute, like there's a part where this guy gets shot out of a van and then ran over.
Jesus. It's amazing. It's the best bad guy getting run over scene I've ever seen in a film. Play that clip, Kevin.
How did we skip over this in the start?
You got him!
Hold on. Ow.
Hey, man, watch it! Watch it! Oh man!
Oh,
You
man.
might have noticed the wig as well. So they stop the car before they hit him, but move the camera like it bumps, and then just film from the back, twitching a wee bit. So he got run over by a car, and all that happened was he got his knees cut.
Oh man, they are. Mate, see that was so early on in the movie. When I turned that movie on, I was like, oh. Here we go. Here we go. So yeah, I'm otherwise occupied for the next hour and a bit.
It's if anybody watching this or that happens to watch this later on, we're live just now. But if anybody watches later, make sure you see this film. You have to see it. It is terrible, but it's such good fun. Let's move on with the storyline here. Where are we at?
Well, there's a boy. And it doesn't make any sense. Mind the wee random waiter when they're in that. If this is after he's done his big spiel to the
and that waiter,
to the fella, right? And then the wee waiter comes and like, why do we need to know that her dad had died? Killed us.
It's like, bang!
Where were they going with
it? Absolutely nowhere. It has zero bearing on the movie. It has zero bearing on that conversation. I think the guy's just a gossip. Is
some?
Were you able to pick up what his name was? They asked him what his name was.
No, what was it?
Is it Ricardo? That's my first name. It's got like a 15,000 word first name. That guy's actually really funny. I have to say, I actually enjoyed it when he was on the screen. He was so over the top and camp and just pointless.
He's like that wee Chinese boy from The Hangover.
That's right. Is he Chinese? Or is he Korean?
I don't know.
He's Korean.
Is he?
He's Korean.
Is he? I thought he was Chinese.
His name's Mr. Kim.
So he's a tranny.
No, Kim's a very popular name in Korea.
I clearly don't know a lot about Korea.
Apparently no. How can you find a new career?
So after this chase, well, no chase. After this meeting in the hotel, it is a hotel, isn't it? They're in a restaurant hotel.
They're in a restaurant. Yep.
Aye. There is a situation that then escalates outside, which is, you remember, he's like, here, get these guys done in. So he goes down, and we got a comment here: augmented orb splitter, yo guys, kimchi, kimfu, kimchi.
There you go,
kimfu.
Mr. Kim.
Ah, nice.
That is a mental profile picture, by the way. That guy's got an interesting story.
Let's bring it back.
Looks like that. What was it, Pete for Big Brother years ago? You remember the guy with Tourette's? What was his name? Oh, he was in that Crispy the Clown shit that we watched a few weeks ago.
He was.
Actually, sorry, this is something that I totally forgot to mention earlier on. Ideally, like if we've written an episode, we'll go through it step by step and do everything in chronological order. But this is just a chat, so I'm going to take us back a wee while. See, just after the guy gets his head cut off in the hospital, then Steve, the cop with the jerry curls, goes into the room, and the bed's covered in blood. Obviously, a headless body there. This guy's a policeman. What does he shout? Call security. It's like, mate, you're the most secure it gets. You're the cop. What's security going to do? Stitch his head back on?
Hey, this is called Samurai Cop, and yet there's not a lot of samurai going on in this movie apart from this.
You motherfuckers! Leave him alone! Uncuff him! I mean it, uncuff him!
Damn.
How skinny is the stump?
I know, and not only that, right?
Looks like a broken pencil.
When you see someone go like this and throw, you would assume that it would go into him. And
Oh no, he
not,
didn't. He didn't throw. That was meant to be a slice.
But he was far away from him. Let's watch that again. He was quite far
He was
away
far
from
away
him.
from him. It's just bad continuity, man. He didn't throw it. That is him slicing through his arm from
They
15
should have
feet
just
away.
They should have just left his hair short. As far as continuity goes, they should have just let him short hair, long hair, short hair. Let's watch that again. I always assumed he threw that and sliced off his arm, but then again, I heard no dropping of the sword, and I couldn't see the sword.
You didn't even get a. If he had a.
Let's watch that again.
You motherfuckers! Leave him alone! Uncuff him! I mean it, uncuff him!
Ah, you're right. Red face.
Damn.
It's like, we've got a black guy here. Make him say damn.
Shit, that is whack.
Not another teen movie. Available for rent on Amazon Prime.
What are you doing? What? I am supposed to be the only token black guy at this party. Shit, my bad. It's all right. It has to be.
Damn. Oh, man.
Oh, what? Yes. So he gets his arm cut off, and That mate, he was nowhere near him. The guy was half the street away from him.
Yes, that's 100% true. That's
Do you know,
the
do you know
guy.
what would be really cool, mate?
Ah.
If someone took the clips from this, right, and tried to make sense of them. For example, say we went and filmed that very scene, right? But then we kind of added a shot that had this massive samurai sword that goes right across the street.
It's like
and cuts in half.
Freddy Krueger's arms.
Or the big ass arm with a sword. I'd love to see that. And in the fashion that Kung Pao has, you know, like that was a real movie, but it was dubbed and they added new scenes and they made it into Kung Pao. I think to do that with Samurai Cop would be incredible. To like make up for all the things that don't make sense.
I don't know, man. I think they need to leave this film exactly as it is. This is another thing. Like just talking about like how you make a movie and how you frame your shots and stuff like that. See the way we are talking to each other right now. This is perfect for what we are doing, right?
Mm-hmm.
But this isn't how you make a film. Every shot that's one person in the scene, it's filmed in this frame with the eyes right in the middle of the screen, or even lower. it's hey, Fujiyama. What you want to do when you're filming somebody up close, let's move this away for a second. You're going to want to do it so that they're either off to the side and looking the opposite direction, right? Or you want to have it close enough that you don't get the whole head in, right? That's just standard practice. Every shot in this film that's one person is like this, sorry, or this. Not a clue.
It's like the old granny doing the FaceTime. The FaceTime. David Fullerton says, "Let me get the Tennessee rub. I'm going to eat that shit. The movie or the arm?"
But honestly, see when he's looking at it, he's like, it's like the end of a fucking HB pencil. His arm's so small. It's so small.
Some of the
my God.
some of the acting in this one, like see the death scenes. I mean, we saw that Oscar-worthy performance from the guy that. I love it that when someone gets shot in this movie, it's just like white t-shirt. And then they move their hand and there's a wee red dot. And then they go,
They did make a proper effort with one guy. I mean, it was the big fat black guy that got shot up against the car. They're shooting like, I don't know if it's like wee balls of meat or something.
No, mate, that's paintballs. He was
Is it
getting
paintballs?
He was getting paintballed, mate.
That's no. I mean, if that's paintballs, well done to that guy for just sitting and taking that.
Not only that, imagine the guys, because we know that they're clear trained, right? We can tell from the fire incident that they're all trained professionals here. But imagine the guy had a dodgy shot with that paintball and went in his face.
I'm blind, PJ. I'm blind. Early 90s reference there for anybody that never seen Biker Grove. Actually, it was PJ and Duncan. I think Duncan was Duncan Ant or Deck. I don't know what one's Ant and Deck. Never mind what one's PJ and Duncan.
Should be going on a t-shirt. Here, a prime example of a great death is towards the end where there's going to be a big fight, and beforehand there's a wee bit of a shootout. I keep saying American Samurai because that's what I grew up on. But Samurai Cop, there's always guns, there's a lot of shooting, and there's very little samurai swords. And here is a clear depiction of someone dying.
Look at his face. Look at his face. He's concentrating so hard. Kev, I don't hear you at all.
Oh, this my mic was muted. Sorry.
There we go.
I said essentially there, right? The first one he gets shot, he goes, "Oh!" Right? Turns like he's going to be sick. The second time he gets shot, he's like, "Ooh."
He spends the whole thing like this.
I'm going to play it again, right? But watch his second shot. He goes, "Ooh," right? Like it turned him on a bit. And the third one, he's just like, "Right, cool." Right? Watch this, right? Watch it. Second shot. Look out. First shot. He's like, that was a bit of a hindrance. It's going to make me sick. Here it comes. Here it comes.
Ooh. So that was nice.
But those
look at
shots
the
are
next-
not bothering him in any way.
Put the next one in harder. Ooh.
Because you wouldn't just drop to your death like, no, wait, no, let me put my gun down. All right, I'm done.
Do you know what's funny? Remember I was saying earlier on about the gang being so kind of multicultural and multiracial. Now there's actually a bit in the film that tries to account for this, where they're like, so we can't have this pinned on us killing this samurai cop. Call in some guys from New York. And there's like 9 black guys wearing bandanas and leather. Just show up. It's like, that's what New York is to you, isn't it? I mean, you're fucking reprobate. While still holding the sniper rifle, I probably he's wobble.
That's my dad's gun. We kind of get a scratch on it.
It is camp as fuck. That's very well described on the part of David Fullerton. That scene actually sums up how good the whole film is. It really does. That's the perfect scene. If you were to say to somebody, you ever seen Samurai Cop? No, watch this, and show them that clip, they'll go right out and watch it. Again, still very little evidence at this point that he is trained in any way as a samurai.
He has
also,
a sword twice in the movie.
Aye. Also, even Chin Boy in the bottom corner there, right? Even he says it at one point. He trained in Japan with the masters. He speaks fluent Japanese. This is supposed to be a really threatening guy. Don't get me wrong. Big guy, burly guy, can probably handle himself, but he's not a samurai. He's not a samurai.
Is it even a cop? At what point does he present his badge? Or wear an outfit?
Never. Buying a fake cop badge would have cost money. They don't need to be spending money on that kind of shit. That's ridiculous. That's ridiculous. How can you expect them to spend money on that when they can't spend money on a decent wig? There's a sequence, a fight scene that happens after he has a meeting with Jennifer in the restaurant, and there's that fucking weird lion head on the wall. Remember that thing?
Aye.
It's like a macrame or macrame lion head thing. Really, really weird. Anyway, there's a fight scene in a nightclub just after he has a meeting with her. And again, it's all white guys that are there from the Katana gang. One of them's so white that he's got a blonde mullet. and the first guy, he's got a baseball bat. And he's like, this guy's mine. And he takes the bat. I don't have to even have anything here that I could substitute a bat with. Ah, there we go. Right?
A real samurai.
And he's just like, he just gets punched. And he steals the bat off and batters fuck out of folk. It's so silly, man. It's such a shit show, but you can't stop watching. You just can't stop watching. There are many films like this that are as bad, if not worse, that you would actually switch off, but you just never have an urge to switch this one off. I don't know what it is about it. It's just perfectly terrible.
Maybe it's all the sex scenes.
There's too many sex scenes, and they're not good. They're just awkward. They are just awkward.
And by the way, right, these henchmen show up to his house, after he's kind of chilled on the beach. Now, I'm going to paint a wee picture.
Super copyright strikes.
After it, my phone will just blow up. Aye, like, so this happens, and then they go back to his, right? That's when they start giving it all the real patter. Then they chill it a bit more, and then the henchmen come. They're shooting out, and of course he shoots, not use a samurai sword. He shoots them all. They're all dead, but they tried to kill him and her. And then the next scene, she's like, "Hey, mum, what you doing?" Like,
Aye.
what the fuck?
She got over that trauma way too quickly.
Like that.
Way too quickly. She must have got pumped in between scenes, and they just left that one out for some reason. It's like putting 19 other sex scenes, but the one that would make sense as to why she's feeling decent after it, fuck it, we'll leave that one out. It's ridiculous. What's funny though is like I said, he meets her outside the church on a Sunday, which is her birthday, right? And before that, he asks her what church she goes to. She's like, I go to the Episcopal Church. And he's like, the Episcopal Church. That's nice. It's like, what, as opposed to other shite-looking churches? What's your pattern, mate? What's your banter?
Thing, as she enters his house, she's like, "Oh, is this your house?" He goes, "Yeah, I own it, month to month."
Is that a joke? Is that meant to be a joke? I think it is actually meant to be a joke, but it just doesn't land. It's basically he's admitting that he rents it, but just in a really roundabout way. And also, as a cop, you're not affording that property, dude. Also, I don't know if you noticed this when you were watching it. There's no way that this film. David Fullerton's asking, do we know how much this film made in revenue? I guarantee you, it's already made 15,000 times the budget, even if it only sold one DVD.
It made. I don't have budget information, but it did gross £384,756.
Pounds or dollars? Dollars. Right.
So,
right. So by the current exchange rate, that's about the same in pounds. So I actually did make money because the budget couldn't have been any more than 50 quid in a packet of skips. Does he fight them in that mankini? Do you know what? No, he doesn't. But that would have just capped it off nicely. Maybe there's a deleted scene out there. I would ask the director, but he's pan-breed.
That makes me sad.
He's away. So is your wee guy down the bottom right there. Big
wee guy? Yeah.
Big Zadar. He's gone as well, unfortunately.
He had by the way, his chin was like, he had a sore chin. It wasn't just like that was his chin. He had a condition.
Big chinitis.
Something like that.
I think
I've got a joke I'm gonna have to tell you after the podcast.
Oh, all right, okay.
No!
I think his chin might actually still be alive somewhere.
Oh, we're gonna get a biography, aren't we?
Nah, not for the chin. I could only find one for the wig.
See.
Wee bit of dead air there. That's good.
No, I was doing that thing that I always do. I was doing something in the background and
aye. Unfortunately, normally I notice it so I can compensate. I just didn't notice it this time. But just to get onto this kind of silly dialogue and the overly sexualized presence of this entire film, there's a bit where they're about to do a raid. The sexy blonde cop that he was with at the start is with them. They're about to go away and do their stuff, Frank and Joe, and she just turns to the cop next to her, who's like a 50-odd-year-old wee fat guy, probably nearing retirement. And she turns to him and goes, "Hey, we got nothing to do. Let's fuck." And he's like, "Shut up." And it's like, was she joking?
Like, what is
or
that even about?
Does the samurai cop just have that much a sexual presence that if he doesn't give it to her, she just has to get it for whoever's closest? That's like a blessing and a curse, I suppose.
I think this what's his name, Amir, had thought, what makes movies sell? Action, tits. That's all we'll give them, right? So yeah.
Well, don't release a film called Samurai Cop. Release a film called Action Tits.
Action Tits. But that's what it is. It's like, of course they're going to love my movie. All the girls want to fuck and all the guys want to fight. Boom, boom. Success. I think that was his skewed vision for the movie.
He had a vision?
Prove me wrong. There's the part, mate. It's like it does it comes off as like a lethal weapon kind of thing. You know, we're here to get the bad guys. Then they all just go, you know what? We're all going to go home today. We're all going to go home. I'm going to go home and sit with my wife that gets her throat cut. I'm going to go and kick about a beach. I'm going to just be at home in the shower. Like all the cops are at home, and then they get visited by.
They've all got the same day off.
And
I don't know. I don't know if the police force works like that. I know a lot of people in the police in this country, and very rarely have two of them got the same day off together. But over there, it's just like, okay, guys, it's the weekend. Let's shut down the police. But it gets to the point where you just think these cops, they have no intention of arresting anybody either.
No.
It's just like,
kill everybody.
we're just going to kill him. And there's a bit where it's coming up for the Okamura fight, and they go to arrest Okamura, and they catch him shagging. Of course he's shagging, because who isn't he in this film, right? It's this weird looking wee baldy guy getting laying into something. And
laying into something.
and they're outside the door going, that's the last fuck he's ever going to have. It's like they're just trying to kill him. There's no intention to arrest. Absolutely none.
They were there with intent.
and then comes the fight scene between Samurai Cop and Okamura, which is just an absolute gem. For some reason, they have a wee chase, as they always do, and then they end up in like just some kind of wee enclosed bit of a garden or something. There's just cactuses about and stuff like that. And then it's like, right, we're going to have a fight. And like that, the scenery changes to being on like a hilltop with no explanation as to why. And we get one of the best fight scenes in cinema history.
Well, let's see if anyone at home watching can spot or explain why the scenery changes.
Fight me like a man.
There's no way of explaining that. Again, no samurai-ness at all.
Nope. The wig.
It's the wig.
And that part essentially goes on. Wig clean off. What were you thinking, boy? What were you thinking?
To be fair, that's probably the best fight scene in the entire film. You know, because at least one of them knew what they were doing, even if he accidentally pulled off the other one's wig. But the thing is, like I was saying earlier on about Matt Hannon, I think the guy could handle himself. The guy knows how to fight, but everything he does in the film is boxing. He's just a boxer. There's no elements of samurai. He's either boxing or shooting, and occasionally he might happen to find a sword and cut somebody up with it. But anybody could do that. It doesn't take a samurai to cut somebody with a sword. Anybody can do that.
Yeah, it's a strange one. This I can't quite.
What's funny though is that film ends with what I assumed. I assumed it was a neck break that fight ended with, and I thought, all right, that's Okamura. He's pan-breed, but no, he's still just crawling about after getting his neck snapped. And then Samurai Cop says to Frank, he's like, okay, take him in. Watch his arm. I think I might have broke it. I'm like, when? There was zero evidence of that arm ever getting broken. Earlier on in the film, the police captain's chewing them out because somebody is like, oh, somebody got killed and an officer lost a hand. When did an officer lose a hand? It never happened. You're just making shit up for the sake of dialogue. You're trying to fill a page. So, oh, yeah, I might have broke his arm. And then it's like, oh, okay, well, all right, we'll arrest him. And then, of course, Okamura's no pan-breed, so he tries to kill him. So then they've got their excuse to kill him. Spoiler alert, Okamura fucking dies, like everybody else. And then they go back to see their captain, who for some reason is about to be fired because of what they're doing, who then advocates for them to go out and just kill everybody. He says, you guys go out, kill everybody, and then we'll all hand our badges in. Right, that's not where the repercussions stop. You don't just lose your job for that shit. You go to fucking jail, man. It's not just a sorry, here's my badge. I'll go and work in QuickSafe. That doesn't work like that.
Did you all just kill about 40 different people? Yeah. Badge. Come on. Badges.
But they were bad, man.
It is something else. The main bad guy, here comes the boss. He gets killed very easily. He didn't even seem like the big bad guy in it. It was more Chin.
Chin was the baddie. Who, despite our naming of him, is not from that side of the world at all. He's an American guy called Robert Zadar. But in this film, I think his name is... It's not Fujiyama. That's the other guy. Is it Yamamoto or something? Yamaguchi. I can't remember his name. Tamagotchi. That's his name. But look at him. He's in the bottom right there now. That is not a Japanese guy.
No.
Oh, Kev's multitasking again. Look.
I was trying to find his name.
Robert Zadar.
He's Yamashita.
Oh, Yamashita.
Right off, way off.
Sometimes Yamaguchi, sometimes Yamashita. Oh, man.
Is he from Cincinnati?
But he does have Chindian heritage. So
I thought he was in Chindonesia.
We're overcomplicating this. He's for China. He's Chinese.
No, man. Oh. The final fight is between Big Chinny and what?
Chinny. I've got a really big face. I'm going to call myself that for now on.
Big Chinny.
It's like Jabba Jabba podcast with Kevin Wells and Big Chinny.
My cousin Chinny.
Oh, nearly passed it, man. My cousin Johnny.
Serious. Could you imagine him in that movie? No. Oh, face hurts.
We need right that if Heather's watching, or even if she's not, we need to get a My Cousin Jenny t-shirt made up. And even I'll buy one.
My Cousin Jenny. I'm actually going to Photoshop the movie cover of My Cousin Jenny, and he's going in it. He's going, oh no. Sorry to all our listeners who are just listening to us laughing down the headphones.
Anybody that's just tuned in will be like, what have they said? What have they said?
My Cousin Jenny.
So with this fight between Wiggy and My Cousin Jenny, we start with they both do their kind of intimidation displays of how skillful they are with swords. Now I'm really hoping that you've got a clip for this one, Kev.
I don't. Sorry.
You
I
must.
Don't. I genuinely don't.
My God, man.
I know I should have, but I just followed the list you gave me.
I thought I sent that one. In fact, did I not send it? I sent it to you in Messenger, so you should be able to bring it up right now as a screen share. I send it to you in Messenger.
I can go through it with you if you like. I'm just waiting on it loading. This is not fun for everyone. No, that clip wasn't included, but it is a popular clip, so it should have been. I agree. But everybody, hey, it just forces everybody to look up that very scene where he's swinging his sword about, and it's sped up, isn't it?
It's like, I remember the bit in Conan the Barbarian where he's doing his Schwarzenegger's got his sword and he's behind the back, all that stuff, and you're like, right, okay, even Schwarzenegger can hold a sword. Watch the scene with these two guys. Matt Hannon kinda looks like he might have practiced a wee bit. My cousin Chinny, he fucking didn't. My cousin didn't.
I've sent you your initial message via the private chat. You'll see that it wasn't included, but as also a slight on myself because I should have put that.
Oh no, it's there. I'll send you it again.
Is
right
it?
now.
Is it?
It's there. Unfortunately, it's me taking it from my projector, but you'll still see. I've just sent it to you again. So
right. I never looked at that for that crap. Oh no, wait, no. I can open that now.
Yeah.
I can open that now. Hold on a second. So entertain our audience while I get our clip ready from your projector. Hi, Wayne.
Wayne. So just while Kevin's going to bring up this clip, if anybody wants to watch this film, it's not the easiest to get a hold of. You're on Amazon. You can get it not on Amazon Prime, so it's obviously from a lot of private sellers, a lot of second-hand stuff, but also it's quite pricey. Like it's like 20 odd quid.
Is there a Blu-ray release?
There was a Blu-ray released of Samurai Cop, and I think it costs about 22 quid, something like that. There we go. Just wanted to show off my man cave. Right, here we go. Like, right. I kind of know what I'm doing. Watch this. What? Kevin, let's see that last move again. That last wee swipe that he does right at the end. Right, so kind of dumb but half decent. And then this woink, 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 and then joink. What's that last one? What's that then?
Oh man. It's almost just like cut these trees. Oh, what? I think even I could. I'd say I could do a wee bit better than that.
I would say you could as well. But the thing is, none of it makes it hard to watch. It just makes it easier to watch. It's like when it gets to that final moment, that final kind of that end clash that we all knew was coming. You don't even hate the fact that it's shite. You love it. You love it.
Does he die by the sword by any chance?
No. He does not.
Well, in fact,
after a big wait for the big crescendo and the big coming together of the two main characters, he kills him fucking self. So he can die.
Honor.
With honor.
Not a very honourable man, though. He put chip.
No, he's a bit
his body.
Bit of a chinny chode bag, isn't he? My cousin Chinny. That's definitely going on a t-shirt.
My cousin Chinny. Oh, I can't wait to put that one together. So,
oh mate,
what?
my friend David Fullerton, who's listening tonight, he's just sent me something. I'm going to send it to you right now in WhatsApp, and I think this could also be a great t-shirt idea, and I want you to bring it up on the screen. So I thought your joke was great, man. My cousin Chinny.
Can you send that to me via Messenger?
I probably can. Let me just flick through my phone like a professional podcaster would, and let's have a sneak. Oh yes, I can. You dancer.
Not bad. I'm just going to bring that up now in a sec.
So I think let's start a trend. How many times can you take the piss out of using the word chin? Chin Diesel. Can somebody stick him in a glass and we'll call it gin and tonic?
I feel that. By the way, for the best meme that gets sent to us from all our listeners with the chin, we may just throw you a little T-shirt, a wee meme.
With your
Jibber
own
Jabber
work on
t-shirt.
it. With your own work on it.
Exactly. J-Mac, what is the legacy of this movie, Samurai Cop?
First of all, I just need to mention the fact that after that scene, the film ends on the same beach scene we had for earlier on,
The
which is
exact
just
same.
it's just weird. It's like it was just a little bit that they didn't use earlier. They're like, fuck it, stick that in at the end, that'll do. So we get some more black pants and bikinis and kissing and caressing, and that's how the film ends. The legacy of this film will last for fucking ever. This is not going anywhere. And if we can add to that, I'm more than happy.
Hey, we should try and reach out to what's his face? The Samurai Cop.
Is that no Red Skull for fucking Captain America?
Hugo Weaving.
Yeah, we should try and. I think he goes by Matt Corradis now. I think he changed his name.
Yeah.
I think it was to try and avoid any kind of connection with this film. But he has embraced the film for what it is now. He only found out like 10 years ago that it had any kind of following. People thought he was dead. Like there was IMDb had him listed as dead. he had to come out and say, no, hello. But but even for a while, he was quite happy for everybody to think that. It was his daughter. His daughter said to him, like, listen, your Samurai Cop's actually gaining some traction. You should really come out and tell people that you're still on the planet, man. And he does like screenings and Q&As and stuff like that. And the guy is genuinely funny. He seems like a genuinely cool guy. I'd love the chance to speak to him. So if you happen to see this, he's a shout. jibberjabberscotland@gmail.com.
Yeah, I think we'll maybe have to reach out to him just for a little chat on the behind the scenes. I really want to ask him what it was like to lie on top of a naked woman and just kiss, and how awkward that might have been afterwards.
That's right up there in the list of things I'd ask him as well, I suppose.
J-Mac, in closing, is there anything you'd like to say about this movie?
Nothing more about this movie. I think I've said all I've got to say, apart from like, it is so bad and so good, so much fun. Make sure you watch it. As soon as this podcast is finished, I'm going to watch Samurai Cop 2, which came out 2016, I think, something like that. And it stars the great Tommy Wiseau as well. So that's my plan for the rest of the night. What about yourself, Kevo?
I'm going to watch the Malignant, the new James Wan movie. And by the way, what date does the new Halloween movie come out?
What date?
Isn't it the 15th?
I don't know.
I'm sure it is.
That's cramping my toe.
Which means our next box office banter could be the new Halloween Kills movie.
Oh, man.
Make sure to check us out through the week.
Is it October 15th or September 15th?
I thought it was October.
Oh, it's still a month away then.
Oh, aye. We're in September.
It's
been a rough few days.
9/11 was yesterday, man.
Oh, it's not this week. Oh, my bad. Yeah, it's been a rough week, mate. My head's out of the job.
Aye. Kevin's got some kind of, I don't know, fungal wasting disease. He's still trying to find out what it is, but I'm sure he'll recover.
I got the power. Candy. So yeah, I've really enjoyed watching this, mate, and I think we should look into more of these kind of movies.
I don't think there is anything like. There's nothing else like this out there, man. This film stands alone in what it is. I'm 100% convinced nothing's ever going to be as good bad as this.
We'll find one. I'm looking forward to our next couple of watch-alongs as well. But you guys will see us through the week next week. So make sure you're liking us on Facebook, following us on Twitter, Instagram, all the cool places. You can visit us at www.jibberjabberpodcast.com, where you can find everything we do, all the projects we're related to, all that cool stuff. You can also buy our merch at jibberjabberstore.co.uk, where you can get stuff like what we're wearing today. J-Mac's got the hoodie, I've got the t-shirt on. More stuff coming as well. So head over there and support the cause and all that cool stuff, or just let us know what you'd like to see us cover in the near future. And I'm looking forward to that. There's some really cool guests coming on very, very soon. Ones that you'll be like, oh my God, how did they get that person? And I can't wait for those episodes as well. J-Mac.
Absolutely. And also make sure to stay tuned. There's always a post-credit sequence. See you next time. Awkwardly long pause.
it was in relation to the movie.
Love it. See you later.
See ya.
See ya.
See ya.
Bye. Toodaloo. Au revoir. Auf Wiedersehen. Keep it warm. Awkward pause.